Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So, our CM bros have been cooking, and they have the guide for, of course, our very own Blade. And Blade is so good. Remember, I made a video, if you haven't seen it, do check out my channel, about the Blade E6 soloing with Locha, Memory Chaos 10, along with my thoughts as a E6 Seele owner main. Blade is actually so strong with Bronya because of how the turn cycling works that this combination of Blade plus Bronya literally sits just above Seele. Absolutely crazy. Now we know Bronya isn't the best combination of Seele because Seele gets so many turns and Bronya's buff aren't that long. However, it's very important to see because of how Blade works as a mid-range or even a bit slower unit. His damage is ultra buffed by Bronya. Now in this video, we'll go over all of the tips, the damage calcs, as well as the recommendations for the relics, the LightCones, and the team. So this is the complete scene guide. They have done testing from the theorycraft point of view along with in-game combat to make sure the information is up to date. So let's get to it. First of all, for those of you that are considering the Eidolon levels, they do talk about the damage difference for Eidolons. This is it, the breakdown at E0, which is what I have on my main account. It's gonna be, of course, as the base 100%, but for my ultra whale friend at E6 the Blade right away, and when I played it, completely different beast. So you can see the damage is almost double, but about a 75% increase on top versus the E0 version. So it's just massive in terms of increase. You can see, I think the most sizable jump is right here, kind of the E2 range. So I'll definitely go to E2 at the very minimum. That 50% base crit is really good. That's that's a lot of gear rolls basically that you're saving, right? 15% crit. So we'll get that, and then maybe I'll even E6 him. Like I said, my Naked Kafka fund is looking a lot more like the Blade fund. Now, even at E3 and E5, those are really good increases, even though those are just skill updates. So let's take a look at the recommendations in terms of the relics. So they talk about it, and I think one of the biggest discussion is, should we use speed boots or HP boots? Because we know the set that we should use is the new set, which is the HP, right? Gives you HP, max HP, which is what Blade scales on. The inner two planetary parts, you're going to use the new one, which gives you additional crit, 8%, and additional damage on your basic attack and skill, which is basically Blade in a nutshell. The enhanced basic attack is going to be massive. So that's what you want to have. And then you can use, if you don't have that set farm, you can use Salcedo and then over Shenju or over the Herta space station. Those are the recommendations. And in terms of the chest piece, crit rate, if you can't get enough crit rate substats, or crit damage if you have really good gear. So the calculation, the breakpoint is always 1 to 2. That means you want your crit damage, or crit damage if you run crit chest is easy to get. So you want your crit rate to be at least half of your crit damage. That is the ideal breakpoint of 1 to 2. So if you have 80% crit damage, you want at least 40% crit rate. Okay, the orb, you can run the orb as the wind damage orb, and then in terms of the boots, now they recommend HP boots, okay, and the HP rope, of course, but they also break down the current comparison with HP boots and speed boots. Personally, I'm always a fan of the speed boots. Just because due to the fact that speed boots just allows you to turn cycle a bit better, and in Memory Chaos, if you're too slow, you are going to get lapped by the enemies and their mechanics. So I really like speed boots, and you can see that in the breakdown. Okay, so this is the inner two pieces, but if we look at the speed boot breakdown, it's just slightly behind in terms of damage versus the HP boots. But I feel like the speed boots just gives you so much more utility. And in the team composition, which I'll talk about, the very basic setup that you can set up is to have a Blade that is just about 2-3 speed faster than Bronya to get the full extent of the Blade plus Bronya combo. And if you run HP boots, your Blade is not going to be slower than Bronya by 1 to 2 speed, right? So, which is why personally I still run the speed boots. I personally run the speed boots. Of course, the rope again is the HP. They did take a look at the energy rope. Okay, they did take a look at the energy rope, and unfortunately, it just isn't worth the HP change. So, of course, we run HP rope, and this is the chest again, because there was a build where you just go full HP, right? Massive full HP, more of like a solo build, and you go super slow, HP boots, HP chest, HP rope, HP everything, almost 10k, almost 10k in terms of Blade's total HP. But you can see, compared to crit damage, you do a bit less damage, but of course, the trade-off is you are unkillable. You're killable. If you're interested, maybe I'll try a Blade build where it's just full HP, 10k Blade, and just see what kind of unstoppable force he would be. Now, in terms of LightCone, you can see that, of course, sitting at the very top is going to be Blade's LightCone signature cone. It just offers so much: crit rate, max HP, and bonus increased damage. It has everything. Now, a close second is the Arlan's 4-star LightCone, right? That LightCone, it's about a 20% damage reduction at Super Imposition 5 in comparison to Super Imposition 1. So yeah, you lose a bit of damage, but it's a good free-to-play option. And of course, if Cleric's Cone, that has a bit more in terms of survival versus the damage output that is absolutely crazy from Blade's Cone. So that is the LightCone breakdown. And if you want to take a look at the current team, so this Bronya, if you have Bronya and you pair with Blade, this combo is absolutely broken. And also in auto, if your Blade's crit rate and crit damage is high enough, okay, you will be able to have Bronya auto push Blade, even if you have a low chat with a much higher attack. They've finally, HoYoverse has fixed the auto so that Bronya will push Blade and Blade just goes ham. Personally, I run this kind of 2-speed below Blade Bronya to make sure that Blade goes, Bronya instantly pushes, and Blade takes another turn. This just helps with turn cycling a lot more and allows Blade's damage dealer build to just reach a new height. Again, you can see this is even just above Seele. Of course, this doesn't really reflect, you know, how strong Seele is because of the extra turn mechanic, and Seele is usually supported by, you know, additional enablers. So Blade is super good, and there's one interesting graph you can see here. This is sub DPS damage. So as we know, as we get more units that are potentially power creeping, you know, we're looking at maybe Kafka, even though it's not looking likely at this moment. We're getting Jingyu, Jingyu, who is going to be patch, I want to say 1.4, 1.5, hopefully, and then Danhan, Imbibitor Lune. So those are all vying for the main DPS slot, right? Seele, of course, is the standard, the ceiling of the single DPS, but Blade can actually perform as a sub DPS that can self-sustain, that can tank, and still output insane amounts of damage without support wasting SP or committing to supporting Blade. That's why I think he's a really good pickup, because as we push later into the game with more relics, you are going to kind of replace your healers or tanks and then have units that deal more damage. This is kind of the end game part, right? And Blade perfectly fits that role as a sub DPS. So anyhow, summary wise, Blade is absolutely beasted, and you can see for the CM breakdown, the recommendations on the teams, on the LightCones, and the gears, the relic gears, with the new set increasing HP by 12% as well as crit rate by 8% if you are attacked or consumed. And it stacks up to 2 times, so you can get technically a 16% crit rate boost. So it's really easy to get crit rate for Blade. Now, let me know your thoughts if you are a speed boot enjoyer or a HP boot enjoyer, and it's TimaeuSS here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.